Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's presentation. My name is Brent Davis, and I will be your host for tonight's presentation. Thank you for coming in and having a listen. Just before I introduce tonight's presenter, I'll take you through a little bit of housekeeping, just so you know how you can hear today's presentation and see it, and also interact with tonight's presenter. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a little red arrow, which will open and close your control panel. You're signed in by default tonight with your computer audio. If you are having audio issues, please click on the use telephone button at the top there and you'll see a phone number and a pin pop up, and you can use that to hear the presentation. If you have any questions as we go through tonight's presentation, type them into the questions pane and they'll come through to me and I'll feed them through to our presenter at the end of the session. So we're fortunate enough tonight to have Daniel Bateup from Golf Business Australia to come and talk about insurance in pro shops, how to avoid the pitfalls with correct risk management, and what to expect if you do have to make a claim. So I think we're going to have some real good fun because it's probably a pretty apt topic at the moment. So I'm just going to take Daniel off mute so he can actually talk to you. And welcome to the presentation. Daniel, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, mate. How are you guys? Thanks for joining us. Obviously, a very busy time for everyone, an interrupted period of, I'm sure, your lives. And to be here tonight, it's great to have you with us. And look, let's hope we can share some information about a topic that might not be the sexiest subject, but we'll do our best to answer any inquiries that you might have to better your business, better protect your business. So I'm just going to
just giving you control there, so you should be able to share your screen.
Right, yeah, share my screen, sorry. First time, guys, so please bear with me.
No, it's all good. You can see it there now, so put it into full screen and away you go.
Okay. All right. So yes, pro shop insurance advice for PGA members. Daniel Bateup, the golf insurance guy that our marketing professionals aptly named us. And
sorry, Daniel, just quickly, just put your PowerPoint into full screen so you can present it rather than have it like it is.
I think I might have already. Let's have a look.
We'll sort it out. It's all good.
Better.
So I'm seeing presenter view, so I just need to swap the screens over. Up the top there in display settings.
Oh, yep. Swap.
There you go. Perfect. All good.
Thanks, mate. Okay, so Golf Business Australia is the Australian golf industry's premium provider of insurance solutions. Our passion is assisting golf businesses achieve success through our value-adding insurance products and qualified experience advice. GBA's goal is simply to reduce the financial burden of insurance while providing peace of mind. Your livelihood is protected. Pretty apt topic at the moment with everything that's going on. So I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about recent interruptions in COVID-19, but we'll try and get through this content and see if we can address a few concerns and questions about that. So who is Daniel Bateup? Managing Director of GBA with 15 years general insurance experience. A busy father of 3, a golf tragic, and look, a Netflix binger who isn't a sucker for a thriller and a few days binging it. So we, just like you guys, I'm a passionate business owner who has an indescribable itch to help others with the skill set that I've acquired. I didn't set out to be an insurance broker. I fell into the industry after another career fell through, and 15 years later, I'm quite proud to say that I enjoy the industry. It's a challenging industry. I've worked with a number of occupations and personalities over the years, so I wouldn't have swapped it for anything, to be honest. It's really offered me a livelihood that I'm proud to be involved in. I might not swing it on plane or make ball first contact, but I do know my way around an insurance policy. So as sad as that might sound to some, that's the way the cookie crumbles for me. Golf Business Australia is really proud of the industry partnerships that we've developed since launching our business in 2016 at the Golf Business Forum. We're obviously members and partners of the PGA, licensed partners to offer an insurance product to pro shop owners and operators, which is a retail business insurance policy. Some of you have probably seen it, I hope so. We're also partners with Golf New South Wales. Value that partnership greatly, something new, particularly with recent bushfires and catastrophe events. We've been really called upon to assist clubs within New South Wales. Whilst we're not exclusively New South Wales, we are based in New South Wales, and it is a partnership that we're quite proud of. EPAR, again, quite closely affiliated with risk and insurance. EPAR are occupational health and safety and environmental health and safety consultants. So we work closely together to improve risk profiles at businesses and golf courses, golf facilities, namely. The On-Course Golf Group, we have a lot of support from On-Course members and proudly insure a number of those guys who own and operate pro shops around Australia. Golf Industry Central, our marketing professionals, Mike Orloff, I'm sure many of you know Mike, is a great guy to have on board in an industry that's very diverse, but also quite a small industry where we know that relationships are important, and Mike has certainly assisted us in our reach to get out to different corners of the golf industry in Australia. Country Club International, relatively new partner to Golf Business Australia. The guys at Country Club International offer high-rise safety fencing. We have a lot of errant ball insurance claims come from our partnering golf clubs, and we're trying to address that through risk management and the installation of safety fencing with CCI at some venues to create a better risk profile for those clubs and ultimately reduce their insurance overheads. And of course, the Golf Business Forum, where we mentioned that we launched our business, we're a proud partner of the Golf Business Forum, which we will look towards the next one, whenever that might be. All right. So a quick summary or an overview of the industry from our perspective, from my perspective. Like I mentioned before, let's face it, it's not a sexy subject, the insurance, but it is a necessary evil. We're of the opinion that life doesn't exist without insurance. People can't conduct business, planes don't leave the ground, vehicles don't get on the road. It is an industry that keeps society and the world moving. A pandemic virus brings us all to a halt, but we weren't to see that coming. But look, at the end of the day, we still are, proudly, golf is still one of those activities that is continuing at the moment. And of course, those partners of ours and others that are insured, obviously, need to conduct those activities. So it won't happen to me is a attitude that we hear a lot, not just from pro shop owner or operators, but nearly 50% of our clients might at some stage think, well, it's not going to happen to me. Look, it might not, and we hope it doesn't. Making a claim isn't an enjoyable experience for a lot of people. We try to make it a more seamless and efficient process, but at the end of the day, we don't advise that people take that attitude, because it's Murphy's Law. As soon as you don't insure a risk, be it a car or a home or a business, you can be sure that something may pop up to give you concern or cause for concern that you didn't take that insurance on that particular asset. We found that the Australian golf industry, PGA members included, have a limited understanding of risk and consequences they're exposed to daily. I'm going to give everyone the credit of understanding what insurance is, and obviously it's an industry that's been around for a long time, and will be for a lot longer. And at the end of the day, most understand that you pay a premium to protect your assets and your interests in life, and insurance that's insurance basically summed up in a nutshell. We hope this webinar gives you a broader understanding of insurance covers available to you, so to protect you and your livelihood. It's all about education and ACE points, of course. So the key components to protecting your pro shop with the right insurance. The first sort of important subjects we'll cross off here are some that we've come across quite regularly since we partnered with the PGA and were licensed to sell our retail business insurance product, or aptly named the Pro Shop Insurance Package. So your occupation. I understand as a golfer who's been around the game as an enthusiast for a long time, what a pro shop operator and owner does on a daily basis. I absolutely, hand on heart, say that I don't know everything that goes on at your business, and that's why when a broker is looking to provide advice around to a client on whatever the industry, we rely heavily on our customers to share with us and disclose their activities. So we look at a lot of insurance policies that we're asked to compare and quote for pro shop owners, and the first thing on most insurance schedules that we come across is the occupation insured. The occupation insured is, in our opinion, one of the more important areas of an insurance policy to focus on. At the end of the day, we've all heard of insurance companies and friends, colleagues coming up against insurance companies that are choosing to decline a claim for different reasons, but a reason for declining a claim is the failure to disclose your activities to be insured. It's not intended the occupation to cover off every single activity that you do from the moment you get into the shop to the moment you go home, but it does need to cover off certain areas. So what we see a lot of is golf equipment retailing. We can't stop at that when insuring businesses or pro shop businesses, simply because the risks are greater to insurers and to yourselves than that. So exclusions exist on policies, and in our opinion, getting the occupation right up front and disclosing that to your insurer is critical. So the way the GBA goes about insuring your occupation is golf equipment retailing. Is golf equipment retailing with or without an indoor club fitting bay and equipment hire, including motorised carts. Now, the tail to that being equipment hire, including motorised carts, is something that we're very proud to be able to provide our pro shop owners. We know as golfers that when we play a round of golf and hire a cart, that the keys for that cart are coming from the pro shop owner or the employee or an employee of the pro shop. What we need to establish is, in the event that I hire a cart to go out and play a game of golf, and whether or not I'm using that cart the way it should be used or irresponsibly, if I have an accident in that cart and I become a quadriplegic, touch wood, my family or myself as the claimant, if I'm in the position, will be to seek compensation for my injuries. That sort of scenario, look, if it were a fatal injury, we're looking at millions of dollars worth of damages, and that's why when you have public liability insurance, you see values of 10 or even 20 million in most cases. So as the hirer of that cart, my legal assistants who would be seeking compensation on my behalf would be looking to the organisations, the entities that could be held responsible for my injuries. So most definitely the pro is going to be dragged into the conversation, and in the event that it is ruled by the courts that the pro shop owner provided the keys to that cart when they shouldn't have, I might have been drunk or underage, or the cart might have not been in the correct working order, the brakes may have failed. This is the reason that the occupation needs to include this description for insurers who have accepted it on day one of the insurance policy. So we want pros to know that it can't just be about golf equipment retailing. It needs to be about more than that when it comes to ensuring the risks that you're exposed to on the daily. The PGA, as members of the PGA, you do have an insurance policy that covers a number of activities, but those activities are restricted to, I believe, the playing, coaching, maybe I think also fitness and well-being of golf, but it most definitely excludes retailing, and the hiring of electronic golf carts has come under scrutiny as well, and that is why that we've included it in our Pro Shop package for the PGA and PGA members. Understanding risk. Consider all risks to your business. It's not just the obvious that can lead to disaster. Avoid underinsurance by having correct sums insured. So what I mean by those two statements is a business insurance policy consists of several sections of cover. Brent's going to provide you with a brochure that we've taken from our preferred supplier of business insurance, Chubb Insurance, and it's a really easy to understand document which details roughly 10 sections of cover that are available to you. Not all of them are overly important to pro shop owner and operators, but it's worth considering, and having a quick read on what they are and how they're summarised in that brochure. You might find value in that brochure and see that there is a risk there to you or your business that isn't necessarily covered, and we suggest you consider all those: fire and theft, money and glass, liability, machinery breakdown, electronic equipment. These are all sections of cover that we provide to pro shop owners for different reasons, and your broker should be able to talk you through what those sections cover and why they're important to your business. Under insurance, by having the correct sums insured, look, it's easy to put a number on your stock and contents in your shop. We always look at worst case scenario. So in the event of a fire, we want to provide absolute cover to our clients. So we use a starting point, whether you come down or go up, from $100,000 contents including stock. This is the wholesale value that you're looking to insure, the value to you when purchasing that. But it quickly adds up when you start to tally what you've got in your store. So important to make sure that those sums insured are correct, because there is underinsurance penalties, whereas if you've underinsured by a certain amount, your claim in the event of a total loss will be reduced on the basis that you've underinsured and should have paid a premium, a higher premium to cover that. That's something to look out for. We also say, your theft sums insured if for a break and enter. We know that 100% of your stock is unlikely to be stolen in a break and enter, particularly if you've got certain security. But as the theft section of cover can be quite expensive for golf pro shop owners and retail businesses, consider the maximum value at risk. It might be 20 or 30 or 50 grand, but at the end of the day, depending on the advice that your broker gives, it might be worthwhile considering a reduced sum insured there to assist with the hip pocket. Why use a broker? Bit of a segue into Golf Business Australia, but look, I'm not here to sell my wares. We are here to provide education on insurance, and even before my time with Golf Business Australia, we advocate the value of a broker. where not all insurance covers are the same. If you were to go direct and to deal direct with an insurance company, the person on the other end of the phone is acting for the insurance company. As a broker, that broker is acting for you and your best interests. You are our customer, and we want to do best by you, so that at the end of the day we have a position of value to offer others. And we absolutely recommend that you seek advice from a broker when insuring anything. It doesn't always, it certainly doesn't necessarily mean that it's more expensive cover just because you're getting better advice and better service, but they typically are. Broker policies are typically more superior wordings and coverage to those direct offerings. I've already touched on it. Brokers represent your interests, not the interests of the insurance company. And that can obviously be invaluable in the event of a claim. We've got a few claims at the moment that insurers are putting under the microscope, and we feel we have a strong argument for those claims, that they will be paid based on the work that we did on the policy when it was first issued, including the before mentioned occupation. So definitely consider using a broker when insuring your business. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about risk management, how to adopt best practice or risk management to reduce the likelihood of making a claim and be a better risk to an insurer, so that it helps lower your premiums. One of the more commonly asked questions of insurance businesses, homes, is what sort of protection do you have against fire and burglary? Well, I can tell you straight away that if you have, I guess, what you would consider a high level of both fire protection and security, your premiums will be lower. There's no question. Obviously, if you don't have a back-to-base alarm or hardwired smoke detectors that are linked to a monitoring company, there is cost to install these measures. But at the end of the day, if you're considering being in business a long time, the immediate cost to install those measures will certainly have a long-term impact on your insurance premiums. So reduce risk and lower your premiums by bolstering your business's protective measures. Proactive business processes. I don't want to get too technical about insurance and the jargon that we use, but we touched on EPAR earlier, and them being OH&S consultants and EH&S consultants. Those guys are basically introducing measures to lower the risk of an incident occurring in the workplace. The same principles apply to you without engaging a consultant to adopt or to implement best practice in the workplace. A few examples that we can give here are cash handling. So retail businesses, we've found there is a high amount of claims for theft by employees, which is insurable under a specific insurance policy that we won't go into. But by having dual requirement for writing checks or banking cash, we're ticking the box to say, well, it doesn't leave one person the option or the opportunity to steal funds from your business. We see a lot that this happens over time, and it might only be 10 years down the track that you find out that an employee has been stealing from your business because they banked the cash. And look, your business processes, I'm not sure how they're done or how you do your checks, but all I can say is that we have had a lot of cases where, with companies with poor cash handling processes, have suffered crime or fidelity by their own employees. So Tough to think about, but it is a risk nonetheless. Card hire, we touched on it earlier. The reason I bring it up here is when you do go to a pro shop to hire a motorised cart, you are asked a lot of the time to sign a waiver, provide your license, and that is good practice. If nothing else, it reminds the hirer that they are in control of a motorised cart, and there is a risk of them being held liable for damage to that cart. Whether or not that's the way the courts see it at the end of the day, that'll be tested on a case-by-case basis. However, it's definitely worthwhile adopting those practices in your business and checking carts, making sure brakes work, making sure they're in good working order, so that there is a lesser opportunity for an incident to occur. Record keeping, we mentioned that there. In the event of a claim, insurers are going to ask for records of your purchases to substantiate your claim. We've been through this recently for a break and enter claim, and whilst Titleist and Callaway and all those guys can provide you with documentation for your purchases, it's good to back it up off-site to make sure that if you do have a claim, a fire or a theft, that you can easily get your hands on purchases for stock or contents being claimed, so that insurers don't use that as an excuse to lessen your claim or refuse it. Less likely if you're with a broker, because we certainly hold them accountable for collecting premium and not paying claims, even though records kept by pros might not be 100% in a lot of cases. Staff training, just making sure that your staff are across business procedures, best practice, floor wet signs, slippery when wet, things like that, just to make sure that, again, you're reducing your risk, you're mitigating your risk. This area that I'm discussing, it's not necessarily about reducing premiums. It won't necessarily help reduce your premiums, but it will inadvertently keep them down because you'll make less claims. If you are one of those people that has to make a claim, by adopting these practices, we hope that you would have less claims, which would give insurers less of a reason to increase premiums come renewal time. Your policy wording and PDS, look, it's a pretty boring read, I'll be honest, but take the time to understand your policy. Ask questions of your insurer or your broker. Am I covered if X? Can I increase my excess to reduce my premiums? It is good to ask questions. They won't all lead to lower premiums or improved cover, but if you don't ask, you don't get. So I think certainly particularly those sections of cover that you've chosen to insure, those sections are worth taking 5 minutes just to read and understand what is and what is not covered by those sections of cover. And if nothing else, it'll help you get to sleep on a restless night. And I'm sure there's a few out there at the moment. So what to expect if and when you need to claim. Like I said, you don't want to be in the circumstance of having to make a claim, but that's why you have insurance. And I'll start by saying, if you feel as if your business has suffered following an event, whatever it might be, it is worthwhile contacting your insurer or your broker to say, this has occurred at my business. Am I covered? And if they say yes, make the claim. Consider the excess, of course, but don't be concerned. Don't be put off by making claims and your premiums going up the following year. What's the point of having insurance if you're not going to make claims? But just keep in mind that a lot of claims, high frequency or high value claims, particularly reoccurring claims, insurers will start to ask questions and insurers will start to decline to offer insurance for that. But make claims and challenge your insurer and challenge your insurance broker to get you the best result. if you've had a good claims history, or even if you have had claims, make sure you know what's out there. Don't be put off by making claims. Broker communication. So from the moment you report an incident through to settlement, a broker or an insurer should be providing you regular updates and assistance to ensure a comfortable claims journey. So that's what you pay a broker to do. That's what you pay an insurer to do, is to protect you when you need them most, and having them assist you in this time, might sound silly, but people that are going through financial hardship following a significant loss, a fire to their business, they're going to want to have someone there to help them. We, as insurance professionals, we can't expect our clients to understand insurance policies as well as we do, and that should put value on, particularly an insurance broker being in your corner. As I mentioned before, they act for you, not the insurance company. Assessors, loss adjusters, investigators. If it is a significant claim, you may have an assessor appointed to your claim to assist or aid the collection of claims information to prepare advice for your insurer. Assessors most of the time act for insurers. A lot of the time they're good people. They understand what you're going through, but make no mistake, they are reporting back to insurers to say, this is what's happened. This is the coverage available under the policy. We recommend that the claim be settled in the favour of the insured, or not settled for any given reason. They're not out there to get you. They're there to do a job, and part of my job is to keep assessors and insurers honest. And I just think we've had a lot of claims recently, some big losses, bushfires, floods, and assessors are on nearly every one of those claims. So business interruption preparation and the like. So we value what they do, no doubt, but they do quantify your claim, and they are appointed on serious matters. So important to know that they do have involvement in claims if you're ever in that situation. Lastly, what to expect if you need to claim. Timely assignment, investigation, and decision. I've included an attachment which Brent will share with you guys. It's a code of practice for insurance, the General Insurance Code of Practice. The only reason I provide that, I don't expect you to read it back to front, but it does give you timeframes on claims handling. However many days an insurer needs to provide you an answer to whether you're insured or not. If they appoint an assessor, that needs to be done within a time frame. So a timely assignment, investigation, and decision, there is a code of practice that insurance companies have to adhere to. Brokers will obviously be involved in the process, but if you deal direct, just know that you have rights, and that insurers need to stick to that code of practice when reporting it, and it gives validation to you as a customer to demand those outcomes, and I guess leverage if you need to take matters further in the way of a dispute. A segue there into, if you were to disagree with the outcome of a claim, there is avenues to dispute decisions. There's a formal process which is also mentioned in the code of practice. It starts with an internal process with that insurer. So let's say Chubb Insurance, the company that we use, if they were to decline a claim, and we hope that they wouldn't, but if there is a reason for them to decline a claim and you as the customer disagree with that decision, we can't recommend that you act on the dispute resolution process. But as a customer, if you're unhappy with the way a claim's been settled, you can enter the internal dispute resolution or internal claims process, which is that the first acronym there. If you're still unhappy with the claim's outcome, it then moves into the external dispute resolution, which is external of the insurance company, and AFCA, who have replaced the financial ombudsman as the middle ground for, or the consumer is to assist the consumer with disputes with insurance companies nowadays. So that is the formal dispute resolution process for insurance claims. We hope that you never have to get to that stage, but just know that if you are in the unfortunate circumstance of having to make a claim, that they are these steps that you should expect, or they are the things that you should expect to, I guess, have to know when making a claim. But we hope that if you do have a claim with a broker or an insurer, that it's handled well. We've had our fair share of poor feedback over the years through media channels, but insurance has helped a lot of people out, and there are some really good examples of clients who are pleased that they had the insurance and the insurance company there at the end of the day to protect them. Okay, guys, well, that's a wrap. There's a few things I'll touch on before we go to the Q&A. Again, use a broker. I think it's probably one of the most important things that I've learned about insurance in my 15 years. The stories that we've had from people who have insured direct and ended up finding their way to us is, they wish they'd contacted us in the first place, for the obvious reason that they just didn't get what they expected when they paid their premium. Professionally fitted clubs will always yield better results than straight off the shelf. So it's the best analogy that I can give. I think you'll all agree that the clubs and the service that you provide is much better than what you can get online or off the shelf. If I'm a consumer of golf clubs, the same principles apply to insurance. Choose the high percentage play. Middle of the green might not be spectacular, but it's often the best option. Over-insuring is the safe play for your business. Trying to reduce your insurance cover to save premium isn't always the best option, is what I'm trying to say there. Is, if you're considering whether or not 20 grand theft cover is enough to protect you, go for 25, go for 30. Factor that into your business. I'm sure it's easy for me to say this, particularly in financial hardship right now for a lot of people out there, but it's better to know, and you'll sleep easier at night knowing that you've gone with more cover than you thought you should have, because things do happen, unexpected things do happen. So try to be overinsured rather than underinsured 100% of the time. And lastly, we understand that it is an expense to your business, probably one of the bigger expenses to business. But just like a golf lesson, insurance is an investment in value. Once you have the right swing, it'll all feel worthwhile. It is important to have the right insurance, guys. There's no point having insurance if it's just to get the piece of paper. Everything from what we've spoken about, the occupation, being detailed correctly, the sections of cover that you should consider, now having a broker to assist you, like all of these things are protecting your business better. And we want that, like we said at the start of this conversation, this webinar, we just want to make people out there feel more comfortable in business, have peace of mind that in the event of a catastrophe or an interruption to their business, that there is cover there, rather than getting, I guess, the door closed in your face by an insurer who might find it easy to reject a claim. We want to be out there for the Australian golf industry and making sure that you feel protected going to work, and yeah, guys, that's a wrap from me. I can hand over to Brent, Q&A.
Thank you so much for coming in tonight, Daniel, and sharing your information. It's a complicated field by the sounds of things, and it's obviously very important for golf professionals to make sure they've got a good handle on that, and to use your expertise and to use expertise out there to make sure they've got the right coverage and the right setup for their business. So if you want to type your questions in now there, guys, we can hand those over to Daniel, and I will let you know that the handouts should have come through on your control panel. You should see those there, so you can download those to go through those. So if you have got any questions, type them in. They've gone nice and quiet, which is a good sign for you, Daniel, which means you covered everything really, really clearly.
Yeah, right. I still coming to terms with a one-way conversation with my computer screen, but I hope it came across all right, guys. It was, yeah, it'll be interesting to watch it back.
I would hope that all these switched-on golf pros that have all their insurance needs covered very well. And yeah, as I said, the questions are not exactly pouring in, so everyone seems to have been covered in. So actually, just wants to come through from Craig now. So can you take insurance out on natural disasters, i.e. floods?
Yeah, look, again, I can only turn to my own experience with insuring golf pros and owner operators, and the policy that, or the information that I've provided you with the insurer that we use, Chubb Insurance. We most definitely do provide flood cover, or Chubb provides flood cover, and we seek flood cover for all of our clients. The only thing with flood cover is it is dependent on where your business is. If it is in a flood prone area, there is the likelihood that the insurer will decline to offer flood for you. But of the risks that we've insured in the last few years, I would say more than 50% easily have flood insurance cover, and many of which have claimed on in recent times. Sydney storms last week, we've got a few claims on the go there for that. And I should mention as well, when a golf course is flooded, and the definition of flood should be looked at in your insurance policy, but heavy rain or stormwater runoff is different to flood, and that's just technical insurance jargon. If in your insurance policy it does not say that you have flood cover, then you do not have flood insurance or flood cover. If you have a storm event such as that experience in Sydney a few weeks back, it's up to your broker to be able to negotiate that with your insurer that was a storm rather than a flood. We also cover what we call loss of attraction. So if your golf course is closed following an insured event such as a storm or a flood, if you have that cover, we will pay, and you insure the business interruption section of your policy, we will pay, or the insurer's Chubb will pay a percentage of your interruption because you'll have less people coming to the golf course. So we call that loss of attraction, and it is a feature of Golf Business Australia's policy. I'm not too sure if there's any others out there, but that is natural disaster cover. I hope that answered your question.
You covered it off nicely. Interesting question from Mike. So he would like to know, what are the main things that you see golf pros tend to miss on their current coverage?
Yeah, so we've got a basic pack, or what I would refer to as a basic pack, and it's fire, theft, and liability are the three sections of cover that a basic policy would consist of. If I were to, or if a customer were to take my advice on sections that they should most definitely insure, it would be those sections. But in addition to that, I can't look past business interruption insurance. We've seen it at clubs around Australia, or businesses around Australia, where there has been a considerable fire or a flood just mentioned, and that business owner operator starts to lose revenue from that point onwards. Without business interruption insurance, most businesses, and following a major loss, a lot of businesses will fail. So we have a strong focus on business interruption insurance, and we make sure that all of our clients consider it when they're insuring. In addition to that, I know as a insurance professional involved with the golf industry that a lot of you guys would have launch monitors, TrackMan, flight scopes. We make sure that our clients are aware that those devices are only covered outside of their business premises if they have a particular insurance known as general property. General property means equipment, basically mobile equipment. So cover for that property anywhere in Australia or the world, depending on that on the policy taken. But if it were me and I had a $30,000 TrackMan in a nice little bag in the back seat of my car, I would want to know that it is insured if someone were to think it were a laptop computer, worth a couple of grand, still a risk, but I know to have that stolen out of the back of my car or even just dropped on my travels and damage beyond repair, that's $30,000 not insured unless you have general property cover. Other covers, they're the main ones that we look at for pro shop owner operators. Management liability is one that is separate to the pro shop package that we sell. But look, we provide advice on a whole range of insurances. I think it's only probably, I'm happy to say that there are other covers out there, but through the PGA we're licensed to sell the pro shop insurance package. But consider management liability and speak to your broker about that cover as well when you're looking at your insurances.
Great advice there. I think, as you said, having a very expensive TrackMan that isn't insured wouldn't be a very good thing to lose. So I certainly like that advice. So just give everyone a few more seconds to type any more questions in, and I'll give a couple of upcoming ACE seminars a bit of a plug while that's happening. So we have got the Super Speed guys coming in next week to do a webinar next Wednesday through the day. So make sure you sign up for that one. We've also just recently launched the PGA Expo footage from last year. That's now up as a full course, and the individual sections of that course will come up in the next few days. So keep your eye on My PGA for that. Doesn't appear to be any more questions coming through, Daniel. So we might call it a night there. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your information and sharing your expertise in this area. I think that was a really good presentation.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I hope so. All the best.
For everyone out there, please stay well. Please do all the right things. If you need any help with anything, feel free to get in touch with the PGA. We're more than happy to help where we can. And I hope everyone has a really good night, and we'll speak to you all soon.
Thanks, guys.